we're recording. So I'm going to start and we'll see if anyone is in the room. It looks like it's allowing people to join.
Gretchen's like, start the meeting.
I see Lillian on here, so it's letting people in now. Apologies to anyone trying to get in a few minutes ago. We had a little Zoom issue, but we'll get started in just a minute once everyone is able to sign on and get settled. So we'll give it just one more minute. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. Melissa, did you want to say anything to start, or I can
Welcome back.
Okay.
I'm happy to see everybody. I don't see who's all here. Grace has that, but I'm hoping we have a lot of people because this one is very, very good. The fundraising tools, I'm excited about it. I know that this platform, Mightycause, has a lot of things that we can use and utilize for nonprofits, which is amazing. We just got to know how to use them. So I appreciate you, Grace, being able to take the time to really pinpoint on some things that we have questions on. So let's get to it.
Awesome. So thanks everyone for joining us again. Hopefully everyone on this call was able to attend our first webinar as well with help getting registered. So now we are looking at, now that you're registered, what do you do next? How do we start fundraising on the platform? So just an overview, again, I'm Grace Draper. I'm the Senior Giving Day Program Manager at Mightycause, and I work directly with the Kitsap Foundation team to get everything settled on the platform and take part in webinars like this. And then your lovely Kitsap Foundation team is Lillian, Melissa, and Gretchen. They've been hard at work getting this platform set up for all of you, starting to get prizes and everything else announced. So a lot of excitement going on with Kitsap Great Give. And we are just under 2 months away, so it's coming up pretty fast. Today, we are going to go over a few different things. We'll do a quick donor experience refresher. This is something we covered in the first webinar, but now that you are all settled with registration, I just want to touch on a few things for the donor experience. Then we will go into actually offline donations first, and then we'll get to peer-to-peer fundraisers. And then we will talk a little bit about matching grants. Melissa will talk a little bit about the prizes from the Kitsap Foundation, and we will leave plenty of time for Q&A. So as far as the donor experience refresher, like I said, we've already kind of touched on this earlier, but I wanted to just really quickly review how to customize the donation form, how to share the donation form, and how to customize your thank you page. Since these are 3 main points of contact with your donors, we just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable in these areas and prepared to receive donations. So if anyone wants to log in and follow along on your dashboard, if you've got 2 screens maybe, feel free to log into Mightycause, into the Kitsap Great Give site and follow along on your end. But to customize your donation form, you will just head to your checkout and donation form section of the dashboard. So when you're logged in, you'll see your menu on the left-hand side, and these options will be available to you. We'll also be sharing this, I just want to pause to say we'll be sharing this after the webinar, this deck, so you can also take this and go step by step on your own after the webinar. But once you reach the donation form section of your dashboard, you are able to customize suggested amounts, and you can also add a description. So this is a great way to communicate to donors where each donation will go. So you can have some suggested amounts and their impact in your programs or in your community, just to help encourage donors to maybe go to that next level donation if they can see the impact growing, the difference between $25 to $50, for example. You can also customize whether you would like to offer the option to do a dedication. So this is a section that you can either show or hide in your section, in your donation form. You'll see it on the screen here in this kind of bottom left. You'll see that if you don't have this showing, you'll see the option to add designation section. And then you can make some choices of where a donor can designate in your programming. Again, with the dedication, it'll look about the same, but you'll be able to offer your donors the option to add a dedication, and there's a few options that they have when you do that so that they can dedicate on behalf of, in memory, in honor, etc. I do want to note that there's a 25 character limit per designation when you are working in the designations field. But these are just two options to engage your donors further. They are not at all mandatory, but they are just something that you can add to your donation form if you're interested. The most important thing is how to share your donation form with a direct link. I really like to share this because if you're sharing the donation form in a Facebook post or on some sort of social media or maybe your own website, you should be able to copy this direct donate link and maybe put that in instead, because a lot of times when we're putting a social media post or if it's on your website already, you don't really need the donors to see your organization profile and all of your program information again. Likely they want to go straight from your post to the donate form. So this just reduces the clicks the donor has to go through to get to the donation form. So you can copy that direct donate link, or if someone were to email your organization and ask, how do I donate to your through Kitsap Great Give, you can share the direct donation form link right here. So that little copied direct donation link is your best friend. You can also customize your thank you message. So again, hopefully this looks familiar, but you can go in your dashboard also under the checkout section, and then you'll go to thank you page. When you get to the thank you page, if you have one already designed, you'll be able to edit it here. Or if you have not designed your thank you page yet, you'll want to click add custom content, and it will open up the editor for you to add images, text. You can link items, you can put video, and then you'll have a custom call to action button as well. We recommend with your custom call to action button, take a moment to think, where do you want your donors to go next? A lot of times organizations will ask them to sign up for a newsletter. You can send them to your website. They've already donated when they receive this message, so they don't necessarily need to go back to your organization site on the Kitsap Great Give platform. But sending them kind of to that next step of how you want to engage them, this call to action button is a great place to do that. So this thank you message is also something that you can customize. And then a quick show here of how to customize the call to action button. So again, you can have a custom button, or if you use the default button, it's just going to send people right back to your organization profile on Kitsap Great Give. But again, if you have a next step for donors, we definitely recommend sending them, in this example, it's to the blog, your newsletter, something like that. You also can preview your thank you page. So this is always a great idea, especially if you've put in photo or video to really view this page in a new window. That'll give you the donor experience so that you can see what does that all look like. Your thank you page design, what does it look like in real practice? So view this page as a great resource for just kind of previewing what that will look like for donors. We also want to touch on offline donations before we get into some more of the fundraising tools. We're just going to talk really quickly about how to enter an offline gift and some of the rules around the offline gifts when it comes to the Kitsap Great Give. Entering an offline gift is done under your reports section, and then you'll click on donations or offline donations. You will be able to add offline donations one by one. So when you click add offline donation here, a window will pop up and ask you some questions about the donation. You can also select the plus icon on the dashboard next to the word offline donations. But either way, you'll be able to add just one at a time. You can also in this screen view offline donations that have been added, and you're able to add or delete the donations. So something to note is that if you add an offline donation, if you were to type, maybe you put an extra 0 or you forget a 0 in the amount, you will have to delete that offline donation and add it again. You won't be able to edit the amounts because those amounts are showing up in your page metrics. So we don't like to edit those too much, but if for some reason you make a mistake, you can just delete the donation and re-add it. Let's see. So when you add an offline donation, you will be asked to add the donor name and email address, the source. This will help you track where that came from. And then any notes about the donation that you would like to make. So you have the capability to track these donations really however you'd like. These offline donations are separate from the Kitsap Great Give online donating. So really it's just a record of a donation given to you on Kitsap Great Give, like if someone walks a check into your office. So this really serves just as a record for you. So you can make whatever notes that you need just to next year when you're looking back, you'll know, oh, that came from, a small event that we did in person, or that came from, XYZ regular donor, annual gift, that kind of thing. So you have a few options for information here as far as tracking. You also can hide the name from public display, so this will help as far as if someone wants to be anonymous, you can still enter their donation in, but you don't have to show the name to the public. And then again, like I mentioned, if you do make a mistake or you want to remove an offline gift, you just click the three dots and you'll be able to delete that gift. And then again, you can either add it again, or if you were meaning to delete it, you'll just delete the gift and it'll remove it from your history and from your page metrics. A few things about offline gifts with Kitsap Great Give specifically. The offline gifts will not be, or they will be showing on the leaderboards. The offline gifts will not be counting towards unique donor prizes, power hour prizes, and timed prizes, because as we know, offline gifts can be entered at any time. So that makes those prizes fair for everybody if they only count online gifts. But they will show on the leaderboards overall when you enter an offline gift. So before we get into peer-to-peer fundraisers, Melissa, do we have any questions about the offline giving or donations coming through?
Yes, we do have
Okay.
a couple questions. So Gretchen, thank you for answering. So first question we have that I saw in the Q&A is, how long do you have access to the platform after the Great Give is complete?
You have access to the platform year-round, and all of your donation history remains there, so you can access it really at any time.
The other question that we have, so are there any fees associated with offline donations?
No, so the offline gifts, since they're happening outside the platform, there are no fees associated with offline gifts.
Thank you. And then do offline donations go towards our total donations on the site?
They do. So you do have that page metrics that you can control on your organization profile page, and then the offline donations will also show in the overall Kitsap Great Give total as well. Any
That's
other
all I
questions?
see.
Okay. My computer is telling me it's dying, so I'm just going to plug it in real quick before we keep going. Okay. Not the time for the computer to be dying. So as far as peer-to-peer fundraising, Melissa and Gretchen said that this was a topic of interest last year, so we want to make sure that everyone knows how to enter offline gifts into the or how to set up peer-to-peer fundraising on the platform. So we'll talk about what is peer-to-peer fundraising, why it's so effective, and then how to set it up on the platform, as well as the fundraiser templates. So peer-to-peer fundraisers are a great way to utilize your network of supporters to fundraise. A lot of people see giving days and they think, well, we already have a lot of donors. I don't, having them give on the give day, they were going to give anyways. Those are the perfect donors to ask to become a peer-to-peer fundraiser for you. So these donors can set up a page that is fundraising in support of your organization on the platform. We recommend soliciting peer-to-peer fundraiser champions from your board members, if you have annual donors, or if you have volunteers. Volunteers are a great way to reach more of a network. Creating a page is free, as it says on the slide. So as far as volunteers who like to give time or efforts to your organization versus necessarily a monetary donation, this is a great way to involve them, and it benefits you because it helps you reach new donors. It also grows your reach for the Kitsap Great Give as well, and it increases visibility for your organization page. So the power of influence is your best friend in this case. Having peer-to-peer fundraisers from those influencers in your organization supporter base is always a great way just to grow your reach and really increase your donations, which again helps you qualify for more prizes. So to set up a peer-to-peer fundraising page, you'll go to your own organization profile page. And this is actually the exact instructions you can share with someone who's going to set up a fundraiser for you. So you could send this to your board members. All they have to do is click fundraise on your organization profile page. So we try to make it really easy for everyone to just click fundraise, and then it will prompt you on whether you'd like to create a fundraiser from the templates, which we'll talk about later in these slides, or they can create a fundraiser from scratch. So you'll see the donor would create a fundraiser, they click get started, and then they'll select build your fundraiser. If you have a template available, it will offer them the template in that section. So when they start a fundraiser page from scratch, this is the view that they'll get. Sometimes as the organization, you may have to help someone set up a fundraiser page. So you would be able to access this as well from your dashboard. You can see all of your peer-to-peer fundraisers in your dashboard under the campaigns section. And then you have access to help edit them as well. Since they are fundraising for your organization, we give you access to edit anything as needed. So they can add pictures, a summary, a goal, all of that kind of thing. And then if you have the template, which I think is probably the best way to go about this. So if you have time to set up a template, I highly recommend it. This means that the person fundraising for you will not arrive at this blank page. They'll actually arrive at a pre-populated page that has your chosen photo and message in there. So to do that, you'll visit Fundraising Tools on your dashboard, and then you'll go to Fundraiser Templates. As I mentioned, you can see all of the peer-to-peer fundraisers right here if you were to click on campaigns. So it's all in the same section to make it really easy for you. Campaigns are the campaigns that have been created, and then fundraiser templates is where you'll create that fundraiser template. When you get to your fundraiser template section, you'll click the plus create to make a new fundraiser template. And then you'll go about setting up your fundraising template following the prompts on the screen. So it will ask you, the admin note is just for your own reference. What do you want to call the template? That's not public facing, so you can call it anything you'd like. Then you'll be able to title the fundraiser. So you can basically put the preferred title in the fundraiser, like board members supporting Homeward Trails in this case. You can put a recommended goal for the individual. So you can say all fundraisers who use the template should have a goal of $1,000. You can also put a fundraiser image here. So this is a great opportunity for you to pick the image that the person might use. You should note though, the person who sets up the fundraiser can change any of these things. So that's actually the benefit as well, is they get somewhere to start. But if they want to put a personal photo volunteering with your organization, they can easily switch that out. But it's always great to start with a photo because pages with photos get more attention from donors than pages without. And then you also can populate a short story for them, or you can put some prompts in there as far as you can either tell the story for them, or we've had organizations put some questions for the fundraiser to answer to help them tell their own story. So there's kind of two ways to use that section. But this is just a great way to provide your peer-to-peer fundraisers with something rather than a blank template. And then that way as well, you don't have to go in and help edit every page individually. You've sort of given them all something to work with. So this helps you help your peer-to-peer fundraisers. This also helps you as far as thinking about board members. A lot of times they're pulled in a lot of different directions and they don't, they hear about a peer-to-peer fundraiser and then they might say like, oh, I just don't know if I have time to set up that page. Well, the great news, it's only like 3 clicks. They click fundraise, they click use template, and then they create. So very, very easy for them to get a page set up in just a few clicks. Then once you've created your template, you'll go back to this area. And so you'll be able to see all of the templates that you have available in this area. You can copy the link directly. So this is a great way to share it. Just copy the link and send it in an email to someone to use as the template. You can also edit it or delete it as well.
Really quick, Grace, it just tied into that, and I think it answered. Kim asked if we can create more than one template. And so, yeah, laugh out loud guessing yes, Kim. So, yeah, I was assuming. I want to make sure, though.
Yes. Yeah, you should be able to create more than one template.
Great. And then real quick, Jess is asking, can you clarify if each person's individual peer-to-peer fundraiser page is called a campaign?
It is called a campaign on your end in the dashboard, but you can call it peer-to-peer fundraisers publicly when you're speaking to supporters, if that answers the question. Awesome. And then just again, for that quick preview of when someone clicks fundraise and you have a template set up, they'll be able to check this box for use template provided by organization. It actually comes pre-checked, so they have to choose not to use the template, which is great. And then they click build your fundraiser. And again, it pre-populates all the information. So a few next steps just to think about when you are peer-to-peer fundraising. We talked about the actual how to set up the peer-to-peer fundraisers, but what should you do next with that information? I would highly recommend creating your fundraiser template before you ask supporters to fundraise for you. So I would say step one, in the next month or so, create that fundraiser template. This is a great way to involve a communications team. If you do have multiple team members at your organization, ask the communications team to help with creating this messaging and this template for you. Sit down and create a list of supporters that you know are invested, whether that's giving their time or their money to you already. You definitely want supporters who are already invested because their peer-to-peer pages will do a lot better than someone who just creates the page and lets it sit still. You need a list of supporters who are responsive. They need to click the link and actually set up the fundraiser. So definitely thinking about who's invested and who's responsive. And then think about connectors in your community. So this is also a great way to solicit maybe a new network person to help promote your Kitsap Great Give page. You can think about someone who's just that connector that whenever they talk to people, they're sharing what they're doing. They like to promote community involvement, maybe on their social media. Kind of picking those people out and having them create a peer-to-peer fundraiser means that you will reach that new audience and grow your reach in the community in general. And then there's a peer-to-peer fundraiser email template that we can share, and that'll make your communications quick and easy. You can just copy paste and input your own organization profile link and things just to make it real simple to send out to your potential supporters. And then just a tip, since early giving doesn't start till April 1st, it's best really not to solicit your peer-to-peer fundraisers now because they can't do much else besides set up the page. So thinking about that April 1st date as when donations can begin, maybe start soliciting peer-to-peer fundraisers like a week before that, because you really have up until the day of to get them to make a fundraiser page. But the earliest that someone can donate is April 1st. So keeping that in mind, you can get a head start now by creating the template, thinking of who you want to reach out to, but then wait to reach out to them until a little bit closer to the event time. Melissa, are there any other questions before we go into matching grants?
No, we're good.
Very cool. Well, if everyone, once you get started with these items, obviously bring your questions to our Q&A session next. That's when we'll put some of these things into practice and find out where everyone needs a little bit more help. So as far as matching grants, this is another great tool to grow your donor reach and make those dollars stretch a little further. We all know that donors are motivated by knowing that their dollar is stretching further than just the $25 they give, for example. If there's a matching grant, that $25 can become $50. So with that in mind, we want to talk about how to set up a matching grant. The first thing you'll need to do is secure a matching grant. So I know I'm probably talking to a lot of fundraisers in the room, and you maybe have different ways that you secure matching grants. But if you are new to matching grants, I wanted to share just a few things on how to secure a matching grant just to get you started. So a matching grant is a great tool to boost excitement and encourage donors. Much like the peer-to-peer fundraising, you'll be thinking about who the influencers are in your supporter base, who is responsive, who is a connector. A lot of times that would be a board member or a major donor. It could be a corporate sponsor as well. So, Kitsap Great Give pulls in a lot of amazing sponsorships. This is your chance to pull some sponsorships in as well and have them serve as a matching grant to help fundraise. Sometimes when thinking about major donors, we look at if someone's always giving you maybe $1,000 annually, or if you're lucky, they give you $5,000 annually. If you know that donation's coming, you can always talk to them and say, hey, I know you give every year. Let's talk about how we can make a bigger impact with your gift. I'd like to use your gift this year as a matching grant. And that person can actually stay anonymous, which I'll show you in the settings. But with that in mind, you can always use a major donor as a matching grant as well, just to incentivize more donations. You'll also want to ask about your potential matching grants interests. So that way, if you want the matching grant to go to a certain program, you can always voice that in your matching grant language, or you could set it up on a specific peer-to-peer fundraiser page. You definitely want to start the process now. We have about 2 months till the Great Give, so it's a great time to start soliciting matching grant sponsorships or matching grant donors. And then we have a lot of flexible matching options. So I'm going to show you how to set up a one-to-one matching grant. That's the most common kind, but if a donor wants to do something different, you can always write to our support team and figure out how to meet the needs of your donor as far as their matching grant requirements. And then just a reminder here, obviously, even $200 could be used as a matching grant. So don't worry about having to secure thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, those are great examples, but even a regular size donation can be a matching grant, just to build some excitement on Kitsap Great Give Day. So as far as a live matching grant, for the donor experience, they'll visit your page. And if you have a match live, it's actually going to show up right on your donate button. So this is why we talk about really a match of any size can be helpful, because it means that you'll have that match tile on your donate button. And that's attractive to donors, knowing that their donations will be matched. Our matching grant tool will auto-calculate how much has been fulfilled. And you'll have a little matching grant tile on your profile that talks about how much of the match is left, how much has been fulfilled, and it also shows any kind of conditions down here as well. So to set up a matching grant, you will go again to your dashboard left-hand side menu. Under Fundraising Tools, this is kind of the focus dashboard area of the day. All of this is under Fundraising Tools. You'll also be able to find matching grants there. So once you go to matching grants, you can click plus create again in the top right-hand corner. And that's how you'll add a new matching grant. And then this window here will pop up, and you'll choose a few things about the grant itself that you want to show to the public. We mentioned that name of match sponsor can be hidden. So thinking about if you choose a major donor, they agree to double the impact of their own gift and use it as a matching grant, they can remain anonymous if you hide this name publicly. And then you can just title the matching grant something else. And it can be as simple as, match for X organization name. I mean, you don't have to get too crazy with the title. If you want to get creative, you always can, especially with the corporate sponsors. I feel like a matching grant pun is always fun with corporate sponsors. So if you can incorporate their name somehow. But again, just having the corporate sponsor, thinking specifically of that case, having their name in the title can be helpful because then it publicizes on their behalf that they're supporting the event. So you have a few options there. You obviously choose your match value. You can upload an image, so that can be an image of your organization, or it can be an image of a logo. So if you're thinking that sponsor for a matching grant, you can put a corporate logo here. You could also put a donor photo here if they want to do that large donor wants their portrait here or something, you can do that. And then you will check the box for including the match value in page metrics. So you always want to check this box so that as the match is being fulfilled, it will show up on your page metrics and it will show up in the overall Kitsap Great Give total. Oops. You can also set the start and end time of the match. So you likely will start this start time as early as early giving. Matches can begin as soon as donations open. So that would be April 1st. And then you'll want to end it probably just the day after Kitsap Great Give so that it matches all donations throughout the Kitsap Great Give day. And then when you select match type, our recommended setting for this is to click match a percentage of each donation, and then you'll type in 100%. And that's how you set up a one-to-one match, which is the most common match on our platform. There are some other match settings that you can explore. There are match support articles if you want to do something fancy with it, but just on a real basic level, you want to match a percentage at 100% to get your one-to-one match. So this is our recommended setting here. There are a few other options for this. You can do including offline donations in the match, which we talked about importing offline donations today. If you wanted to do that, you can. Really, there's no recommendation for that either way. It's up to you. But something to consider is that if you do not include offline donations in the match, gifts given online will be the only ones that count towards it. And so it'll stretch your match a little bit farther by keeping it to online gifts only. So that match tile is active for longer on your donate button. And it gives more donors who are giving online the feeling of that one-to-one match. Something else you might want to do is include organization fundraisers in the match. This is where you'll include peer-to-peer fundraisers in the match. So if you have an overall organization match and you want it to apply to your peer-to-peer fundraisers, if you check this box, it'll trickle down to the peer-to-peer fundraisers. If you don't want to do that, don't check the box, and it'll only apply to gifts given directly on your organization page. So that is an option for you as well. And then something you can get into if you have multiple matches is queuing the matches up. And so once you've had multiple matches secured, you've set up one match. When you go to set up the second match, the third match, potentially the fourth, you check the box for queue this grant to begin immediately after another grant completes. And you'll see that it gives you a drop down of your existing matches. And so you could say, okay, Joe Smith was the first to commit, so I'm going to queue one up after that, and keep the end date as the end of Kitsap Great Give. But what this does is that the new match will not launch until the first match has been fulfilled. So you don't have two matches happening at the same time. You can stretch the impact of your matches by setting them up to go one after the other. And again, this is a great, we have support articles about how to do this. It's going to be in the slide deck shared afterwards. If you do end up getting two matches, you can reach out to our team to figure out more about how to queue them up if you're having any trouble with that. So before we go into prizes, Melissa, are there any matching grants questions?
We do. So the first one we did. Okay. So do you recommend matched gifts be offered online or offline, or is either fine? I think you touched a little bit on that, but do you want to just reiterate that?
Yeah, I think it's really up to you in the end. Our recommendation is to keep them online only because that incentivizes the donors who are visiting your page online, and offline donors probably not visiting your profile page. So that match tile is not part of their incentive for giving, if that makes sense. So you want to have that match tile shown for those who are online because they'll get excited and they might give a little bit more. So I think it's more of an online strategy than offline, but again, it's totally up to you.
And that probably answers your question too, Christine, which was, should you enter grants offline? And so then Jess has another question. Can you talk about the timing of how to log the matched funds? I think last year a matching donor gave their gift on the site, so it looked like we had double dipped on their gift and our total showed higher than it should be. My question was rather whether the matching funds themselves are logged online or offline. Sorry, that was going back to the first one. Jess was asking about the first question. That last part I just said. So, but what I was talking about is I think last year matching donor gave the gift, so it looked like they double dipped. So just how and when to log the matched gifts.
Yeah, so I think kind of two things there. If the donor wants to fulfill the match online, then you actually will not check this include match value in page metrics because that will look like you double dipped. If the donor wants to give the match offline, you can have them do that. I just wouldn't enter it in until after the Kitsap Great Give Day is over. So you would enter it in as an offline gift like the day after the event, because then it won't show up as double dipping. The other option is there is a fulfillment link, which I don't think I have a screenshot of on this. But when you create a match, it'll be in the support article. But there is on each match, I guess the closest thing is you'll have this list of matches. Once it's closed, you'll see the option. There'll be 3 dots like other things we've looked at. When you click the 3 dots, there's a fulfillment link. And so if the donor uses the fulfillment link to give the match gift online, it will not double count it because the system knows that that's the match being paid. So I think if we want a recommendation on that, because I know I just gave 3 ways to do it. Since this is new this year, I think just knowing if they want to give it offline or online would be your question to the donor. And then that way you know whether to check this box to include it in the page metrics or not. So if they're going to give it offline, you do want to include it in the page metrics. If the donor wants to give the match online, then you do not include it in the page metrics.
I have a comment, so I'm feeling like that is an answer. So I think we're good. And then Jess really likes the fulfillment link. So great.
Awesome.
I hope, Christine, I hope we answered your question. That really makes me feel that we did. If not, we have a question and answer session at the end. So don't worry about it. Okay, great. She said yes. All right.
Okay. So I was trying to think, we need to give kind of like one recommendation. And then if you want to go outside of that, you're welcome to. And we'll show the email at the end, but you can always write to support@mightycause.com if you're like, I set up a match and I want to make sure I do it right, we'll help you via email, support@mightycause.com as well. Any other match questions before we go to prizes? Okay. Melissa, I'll hand it over to you then to go over prizes.
All right, so cute puppy, we'll start with that. So we have over 10,000 available in prizes. Obviously we want to build that excitement and donation momentum, and it involves your supporters. So helping each other out. So we do have some new prizes this year. What I want to start by saying is using our FAQs page, really understanding that for two sides. So for the donor side, the general facts, I think it's really important for you as the organization to familiarize yourself with that. For the donor perspective, especially when it comes to matches or offline donations, just understanding how the process works. Like, for example, if you have an offline donation and they ask you, okay, who do we make it out to? Make it out to you? No, you're going to want to make it out to Kitsap Community Foundation with your organization and the memo, or just on a piece of paper. So really familiarize yourself with that. For the nonprofit side, the nonprofit FAQs, in there's a really big and important section regarding the prizes. And I think it's really important that everybody understands what our prizes are, the ones that are from last year, as well as the new ones from this year. So 4 new prizes are available. The early giving, April 1st through the 15th, the day of the 16th, plus power hours and golden tickets. They can only win one of each, and the categories are small orgs, large orgs, and new organizations. Prizes are a variety: random polls, most dollars raised, and unique donors. So an example of for a unique donor would be email addresses. One thing that we're finding is we're pushing as much as we can online donations, as well as, and this really helps you because there's a question and the resources that and that's been asked a few times to me too, is about tax receipts for the organizations. You don't have to worry about that. If they give online, it just sends them automatically. So that's something that we're really trying to push, because we do get a lot of donors that don't provide that information. You wanted to go to the next one if there is? All right. So I will kind of go back, but the new Gold Star Club prizes, those are 3 prizes that they have been announced. So we will announce those, and you can see those ones in particular on the prizes website right now. The next ones, the early birds, and the new power hour, and you find that on there, and the new night owl, which we love that. We changed the name of it, and we really like the night owl. So strategies for winning prizes: communicate your prizes, remove our faces. Communicate your prizes to your supporters. Use social media to push for donations during a specific hour. Use peer-to-peer fundraising to increase unique donors. Choose 1 or 2 prizes to really push for and focus efforts on those. Another example is choosing a particular power hour. Really push that, and that's the reach that you want. So that's the area that you're looking for. Just being very strategic in your and choosing your prizes that you're shooting for your organizations. All right. Let me see if I can talk about anything else. I'm looking at the prizes page. So again, if you're on our website, you click on the resources, click on prizes. It's really important to know all donations made at the website via our Kitsap Great Give website, as well as other donations contributed through offline. Offline means they're eligible for the 5% bonus pool. And there's just a lot of information on our site that we would be happy to reach out further to and talk to you about the prizes, and just take a look at it. We can talk about it more in the questions and answers if you like, but I really wanted to highlight the newer prizes that we had. Am I missing anything, Grace?
No, I think that was everything. I feel like I just want to double highlight the using peer-to-peer fundraising, since we talked about that today. That is a great way, like Melissa said, to increase unique donors. So getting those new donors through the peer-to-peer fundraisers will really help you with those unique donor prizes. So just want to double emphasize that.
Yeah, and so the question we have is, how do you know if you're a small or large org? And that's based on your revenue. So the smaller organizations, like under 50,000, would definitely be a small organization. Another question that just came is, where can we find the email template for peer-to-peer?
I believe we need to post it on the resources now that we've talked about it, but I have it ready to send to Melissa and Gretchen to get that posted.
Great, thank you, Kim. All right.
And then I just posted the prize link in the chat that we showed on the screen if anyone wanted to take a quick look. We're going into questions and answers in just a moment, so any questions about those would be great at this time. And then lastly, we have a few reminders for everyone, just as you're going forward, knowing that we're within that 2-month window. Make sure that you are adding content to your organization page, either updating from last year or continuing to update your page with new information, because those pages are public facing now that you're registered. Anyone who visits the site can see you in the search section. So you want to make sure that especially you have your logo on the page, but that you have everything else as well. And then just a few support items. If you visit support.mightycause.com, that's our support article library. You'll find all of the steps we talked about with peer-to-peer fundraising and matching grants here. And then if you still need assistance, you can always email support@mightycause.com and our support team will be happy to help you. And then also, as we mentioned before, we have a Q&A open session on March 12th. So the registration link for that is posted as well. And that's where we will take questions kind of as a working open session from anyone who's trying to set things up or has questions about the platform. You can bring whatever you're working on to that. So we will have that open session coming up March 12th.
Great. To answer Jess, yes, make the checks out to KCF. It is best, Jess, to have us import them, any offline checks. I think that's the best option. If you want to talk more about this too, we can talk more about it. I can give you a call. But I think it is best to have any checks that you get made out to Kitsap Community Foundation for your org and then sent here to us because we process all offline donations here. Then what is the philosophy of the leaderboards? Well, what would you say, Grace? To put as far as putting them donations, kind of keeping track where everybody's at. We can have it split between small organizations, showing them where they're at with their donations versus large organizations, showing them where they're at from April 1st to the day of.
Yeah, I think we haven't exactly finalized which leaderboards will be showing on the site, like what the actual I know we will have typically there's a small org and a large org leaderboard to show just how you are where you are. I hate to say ranked because we're all great people, but kind of where you're ranked based on most donors or most dollars. So you'll be able to see that. But it just kind of helps you see how you're doing compared to other organizations of the same size within those leaderboards. So just a good way to kind of see where you are.
I hope that answers your question, Christine, unless you have something further.
Yeah, let us know if you have a follow-up.
You mentioned philosophy, so I mean, we
Yeah.
could take a deep dive when you say that word.
I see one question from Arkisa about reposting the prize screen. I had put the prizes in the chat. I'll put them in again in there now. So it'll be the most recent chat, but it's just kitsapgreatgive.org/p/prizes. Oh, got the link. Okay, awesome. And then Michelle was wondering again, the small versus big org categories. Melissa, do you know off the top of your head the amounts?
Oh, well, 50,000 or below is considered a smaller organization. I don't have a number for the top of my head, the large, but it's in the registration. It's in the registration questions as far as based on your revenue. So that's how you're going to be determined whether you're a smaller organization or a larger organization.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and actually we had a couple more reminders, Melissa. Did you want to cover those?
Yeah, sure. So, okay, 10-word statement. Yes, everybody should have gotten that. We have that Google sheet that we are using. Please don't forget to mark on the right side of it that if you complete it, because that's how we're knowing that it's done. So by Friday, March 1st, that is a deadline. That is a deadline for the 10-word statement. So we're trying to get an evergreen here, and as well as, so we'll get that 10-word statement so that we can utilize it in a nonprofit directory on our website as well. And so that needs section. So when we first started this, we used that needs section. And that was the best way that we can do it. That was the best way for us to transition. So now we want to be able that you use that needs section for what your need is, not for the 10-word statement. So we really want to make sure that when you put that in there, that is what we're going to have. We're going to keep for our records. So please, by March 1st, and that gets published on March 29th. And then secure your ad space with Sound Publishing by Wednesday, March 6th. So the Google Doc, let me see, it should be on your dashboard when you log in. And you're talking about the Google sheet for the word statement. This was emailed to all, this should be emailed to everybody that has an admin email, as well as when you log in, you'll have this prompt as well. So if you have any issues in finding this, Kim, or anybody else, yes, no problem, Kim. Lillian, the amazing Lillian, she will be able to help you out with that. She can send that to you as well. And thank you, Nonprofit Toolkit. Thank you, Gretchen. Appreciate that. So we can find it on the Nonprofit Toolkit, the toolkit and resources. Yep, it's right there midway through the page. Click on review the 10-word statement in white.
Yep, and it looks like Lillian just added it to the chat for anyone who wants, and Gretchen
Thank
sent a link
you.
as well. Yes.
Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you, Lillian.
All right, last call for questions. That's all the content we had for you today. We really hope you'll join us on March 12th again for the Q&A session. Whatever you're working on between now and March 12th, bring it with you if you have questions. Also, if you have something really cool that you've made, bring that to share too. I think other people would love to get ideas from each other, most likely. And that will be in a meeting format. So these have been webinar formats where only Melissa and I can talk, but we are doing a meeting format next time so everyone can talk. You'll be able to come on screen and show us what you're working on, and we can have a discussion. So please join us March 12th. We'll stay for just like one more minute in case a question pops up in the chat, but thank you all for joining us and looking forward to the next one.
Thank you, everyone. That is a good question. How do you cancel an ad to Sound Publishing? I'm wondering, is that what you're talking about, Joyce? You're not alone in how you responded, Joyce, that I inherited this and do not know what's going on. So I gotta say, that is perfect. But thank you, Gretchen. I was trying to think of the name of the person at Sound Publishing. Yeah, Priscilla. And if Joyce, if you need any information about that, you can reach out to us. My email, melissa@kitsapfoundation.org.
Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat, so I think we can probably wrap it up, and I will send you the recording, Melissa, and the slide deck to share with everyone. So we'll get that posted shortly for anyone who's still on and listening, but thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.